Hey everybody, welcome to Neurodivergent Gaming. I'm your host, Tailgate Coolie Cat Meow, and you know what we got going on over here? High scores and low dopamine. Let's go! And now we have another 10 by 10. I see a 6 here. If we count it from here, it goes to there, and if we count it from here, it goes to there. That's our overlap. It gives us an edge, so let's do these bottom numbers. That's 4, 2, and 6. Now we can look at these rows here. We have a 5 and then a smaller number for both of these rows, and these spaces to the right of this aren't big enough for all that, so we know that the 5s have to come over here to the left, and there's exactly 5 spaces there, so we can fill all that in. Now we can see, because of this X, that that's where our 4 starts for this column, and our 3 can't go down any further, so it has to be there. Our 7 can only fit there, and our 1 can only fit there for that column. Our 3 for this column, it will not be able to reach down this far, and that's the only number remaining, so we can put an X here. But what we can do also is look at this row, and we know that we're not going higher than 2, so we can mark that, and it'll tell us exactly where that 3 goes right here. And that'll tell us with this row we have a 1, and then our next number starts here, it's a 3, and then our last number for that row is a 3 as well. That tells us where our 2 for this column goes. It can't go up, so it's got to go down, and then a 3 will only fit 1 space in this column. That gives us our edge, and we can count from here. Our last number there is a 6, so it'll come all the way out there. For this column, our only number is a 7, and there's only 1 space that 7 can fit. And for this column, we have a 2 and a 3. This could be our 2, or this could be our 2, but a 3 won't fit here, so this can only really be our 3, and that means that is our 2. And then to finish this row down here, we know right where that 6 goes. That's a tree. Yep, a palm tree. Continuing, we have 10 by 10, and I see a 10 here, and I see a 10 here, and a 9 here. Will make all of that overlap, and we can do our last numbers for these rows because we've got an edge done. So we know that 6 starts here, therefore it'll come out to here. That's a 2, it's already 2 out. This will be a 3, this last number is a 2, this last number is a 3, this last number is a 3, this last number is a 4, and we can put our X's on the end of these because they need that 1 space afterwards. Now what I'm seeing is this 7 here. It won't fit before this space, so it has to come after the space. If we start counting from here, it goes down to there, and if we start counting from the bottom, it'll go up to there. That fills in those spaces. Now we look for this row, we can see that this filled in block here has to be part of the number 2, therefore it can only reach out here or here, and it will not be able to reach those squares or those squares. In this column, this first filled in piece has to be part of our number 2, and then we have 2 number 1s. We have a number 1 here, so let's mark that above it. That way it doesn't get any bigger. And then that will finish this row for us because we have 3, and then here we have a 3 space 1, and you can count that out as 1, 2, 3 space 1, and see that there's there's only one way that it fits. I forgot to switch back to my squares that are filled in. I do that a lot. And on this column, our last number there is a 2. We can see that 2 is here, and this top number is a 4, so if we count the overlap, it'll include those 2 squares as well. Down here on the bottom row, that last number we have is a 2, and it won't be able to move left, so we got to go right to finish that 2 out. And we'll have some overlap with this 2 in this row. We've already got our 6, so if we count 2 from both sides of that, it'll tell us that we have some overlap here. We'll have some overlap for this 6 and this 5 too on these rows, so if we count from here, we'll get all the way to there, and if we count from here, we'll get all the way to there, and that's the overlap we have for that 6. For the 5, if we count from here, it takes us to right there where we are, and if we count from here, it'll take us all the way back over here, and that's our overlap for that. So if we look at this column, we need a group of 3 and a group of 2. We've got our 3, and we see where that 2 starts, so we'll count it down. This row, we need a group of 3. We can see that that makes our group of 3. And then this row, we'll need a group of 2, and the only space it can fit is here. In this row, we now see that our 5 can't go to the right anymore, so it must be here, which tells us where our 3 starts. It can't go down any further, so it's got to go up. 1, 2, 3. And that finishes a couple of rows for us as well. And if we look at this column, that 3, and we can see it starts here, 1, 2, 3. And then this first number has to be a 4, so that one has to be filled in. And this first number here has to be a 2, so that one has to be filled in. That is some type of animal. Long-eared hedgehog. It looked kind of like a mouse in the nose area, but then it looked like it had a tiger mane. So I was like, tiger mouse? Okay, now we have another 10 by 10. And the first thing I'm doing is I'm Xing out here. A 2 won't fit in that one space, and a 2 won't fit in that one space. And then if we look to the top, we have a 6 on this column. It won't fit here. We have a 5 on this column. It won't fit there. A 6 on this column. It won't fit there. I like to go through and make some X's. Here we have a 3. It's not going to fit in that space of 1. We have a 3. It's not going to fit in that space of 2. And that's all I'm seeing that I can X out immediately. So now we're looking for the numbers where we're going to have some overlap. We'll have an overlap with an 8. Since we have this space marked off, we would start counting from here. It'll take us all the way to there. We can start counting from here. It'll take us all the way to there. That's the overlap for the 8. For the 3, we have an overlap as well. 1, 2, 3. And that 1 is our overlap because 1, 2, 3. We'll have overlap on this one because of our 8. So if we count from both sides, that gives us the overlap. Same with this row, we'll have an overlap of 7, and that takes us all the way there. This column has a 4, 1, and 1, and because of all of our X's that we did, we can see there's only one way that that fits. And for this column, we only have one number, so let's connect all of that. And for this column, we only have one number, so let's connect all of that. We can see it can't go down any further, so it has to go up. That'll make our 6. And same for this column. We need to connect those because it's just one number, but we can see it won't go down any further, so it has to be there to make our 6. Then in this row, we have a 1 and then a 2. Well, we've already got those. And then we just have a 1 left, and there's only one space that can fit. We have an edge here, so we know those first numbers start here, 1, 2, and 1, 2. Then we can look in this column. We only have 1s, so let's put an X down here. We can't make that any bigger than the 1. And here we have a 4 followed by 3 1s. There's only one space this 4 can fit. That's the only way a 4 is fitting there on this column. And then we have some 1s, so we need to mark that off. All we have left is 1s. And then the last one here is a 1, and there's only one spot left for it. For this row, we have 2, and there's only 2 spots left. For this column, we have a 2 and a 3. If we look at that 3, we can see it can't go up anymore. It's got to go down. That's got to be part of our bottom number. A 2 won't fit here, so it has to fit there. And then this row, that bottom number is a 3. It has to go this way because it can't go right. And then we'll put 1 here to finish this 8 and this 1. That is a scorpion. I was going to say sticks again, probably just because they were brown. All right, our next picture here is another 10 by 10. They're really liking these 10 by 10s for this postcard. I see that 10 on the bottom. I see the 9 on the top. It's going to give us a lot of overlap. The 1 and the 8 add up to 9, and if you put the extra space for the extra one for the space, then that equals 10. So we know a 1 and an 8 only fits on a 10 like that. And we can look at the rest of this top row because we have an edge. That's a 1. a 1, a 1, a 1, and a 1. This top number is a 2, so we can go ahead and put my X. We can bring that down to a 2, and then there's just 7 left. That's another one where you have 7 plus 2 is 9, and 1 space makes 10, so there's only one way it fits. Now we have the bottom done as well, since that bottom was a 10, so we can do all of our bottom numbers. We know where they start. This bottom number is a 1, this one is a 7, this one is a 2, a 1, a 3, a 7, and a 3. And that finishes a lot of those rows out. We can see up here, this top row, it can't go to the right anymore, so that 9 has to finish here. That first number is a 2, so we'll bring it there. For this row, we could put an X, but I'm not going to switch back to my X's right now. I'm just going to finish this by filling in the squares. We can see here, this is one number, so we need to connect those, and it adds up to 5. For this, we know that that group of 9 can't go any further right, so let's pull it left, and then if we fill these in, that makes 8 for each of those rows. It looks like the sun. Yes, the sunset. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you feel like it. That's the hit. Catch you next time. Bye.